Hi, sorry we're back to upside down videos, but I'll get there in the end. This is another new tripod that arrived this morning that I'm still playing with. Okay, so today I've hopefully remembered to turn everything upside down so you can read it. Today we're going to make this little Palmolive bespoke box. These are from last year, these little travel size things, and this is the only one I've got. So it sits inside the window. This is just for the basic box. You can go ahead and decorate it once you've made it. Okay, so what you need to make this is a piece of paper measuring 14.6, and you know how accurate I do these things, so that 1 millimeter matters, by 14.5. Okay, so it's just off a square. You need to cut a little piece of card measuring 3 times 8 centimeters, and we're going to use that as a template to cut out the window. And you'll need a piece of acetate that measures 9 by 4 centimeters. Okay, now because it's such a small difference, I'm just going to double check I'm giving you the measurements going the right way around. Yes. Okay, so I will leave that there so you can zoom in if you didn't catch the measurements. All right, so with the 14.5 side facing you, you are going to score at, I never get that wrong, 14.5 side facing you, you are going to score at 4.2, 6.7, 10.9 and 13.4. I'm not sure if you can read my little diagram, but I'll turn it around in a second after I've gone through the measurements with you. So I'll just go through those again. This is the 14.5 side, and that's it. 4.2, 6.7, 10.9 and 13.4. Then rotate it by 1/4 and score at 2.5 and 12.1. Again, that 1 millimeter matters. Okay, once you've done that, fold and burnish all of your score lines. Okay, from this piece, this is going to be the flap that tucks inside of the box, so we don't need those 2 rectangles up there. Okay, also we need to crop this square in half. Okay, so that is the top 2 little corners and half of the first square down. Okay, and then you have a wider panel, and then on the next smaller panel we are going to slightly wedge these 2 boxes to create your gluing tabs. Okay, right, so cut straight down each of the score lines first of all, and as you do, this rectangular panel, cut the score line off of that and onto the side panels, and then it saves you having to try and get rid of it when you fold the box up. Okay, so we've just freed up all of those panels, and we're going to cut this top one off, but we're going to cut it at an angle because we need a slight angle on that so it will tuck inside the box. Then we're going to cut half of that square away and again angle. In doing so, I've cut the score line away from here. Then I'm going to slightly angle. You don't need a lot. You're basically just trying to cut out the score line. There we go. So that's one side. We're going to repeat that on this side. So cut this top corner off and slightly, but very slightly, angle this, because if you cut too much away it won't stay tucked into the box. Then cut with inside of the score lines for this rectangular panel here and for this one here. Then angle cut this tab here to create a gluing panel. Okay, then cut half of that square away and do a slight angle on both sides of this. And then, just while I remember, because I do often forget, with your circular punch, just take a little quarter circle from the center of this end, so the opposite end to your glue, to your tuck-in flap, so that it's accessible to whoever you give it to. Okay, so with this piece of card you cut, we are going to, you can say I used it for that one, we're going to put some glue on the back. No dies are required to do these little projects I've been doing this week. Not everybody has a die cutting machine. Okay, so I'm going to center it in the first of the wider panels. So this is your lid. Well, this is the bit that'll close the box up. There we go. So I've got it as central as I think it can be. Now I'm going to carefully burnish it down a little just to spread that glue out from behind, so it doesn't move when I then bring in the craft knife to cut round it. Okay, so hold your template, use it to butt your craft knife up against, and literally just cut around. Until you can remove this piece. Thought I'd made a double cut there, but apparently not. Right, now with your piece of acetate, I keep mine on with a sticky note on so I can find it, because I always lose acetate. I use 3mm tape when I'm using acetate, just to avoid getting glue on the acetate, which I always manage to do somehow. And then it just makes such a mess trying to get it off. So I've resorted to just training myself to use tape instead. So I'm running this tape border as close to that cut line as I can. And then I'm going to burnish it down with my bone folder. This does two things. It sorry, I'm distracted. It makes it easier to lift off the carrier paper, but it also bonds it to the whatever it is you're gluing it to, you are sticking it to. I just use the back of an old craft knife to get under the tape. Okay. Oh, stay. There we go. Right, I've measured this acetate to fit exactly on top of this tape, so you've got no sticky goings on the inside. So go ahead and use glue if you prefer glue. Just keep it quite close to the window, the aperture, so that you've got room for your acetate. The beauty of acetate is you can move it around, you can take it off if it's not quite right. It's better. I was in my own light. There we go. I can usually do this pretty much first time. There we go. Right, now burnish your acetate down to the tape. This will help strengthen the lid of your box. Just try and make sure it hasn't slipped, so that all of your folds, your crease lines fold, and the acetate hasn't slipped over one of those. Okay, next. You can do this one of two ways, but with a box this small, I like to hide these glue and flaps if I can. So rather than put glue on the outside and then, you know, hide the flap inside the box, I want to hide it between the two sides. So I'm going to put glue on the underside of this flap. And then I'm going to bring what will be the bottom of the box up. so that this glue and flap's going to actually be on the outside of the box at the moment. The front panel will cover it. Okay, so aim for nice square corners. There we go. Now with these last two panels being the front of your box, or what will be the front of your box, they go on the front. They are going to be the one you see. So we're going to cover those with glue. Yep. And then one at a time we're bringing them over the top of the one we just stuck down, and so it's completely hidden, and we're going to square it up. Same at this side. There we go. Then all we need to do is slip in our Palmolive, tuck in the sides, and that flap, and there you go. Pulled it open, got some glue on my finger I think, and there's your little box, and you can decorate it any way you want. Okay.